I know it in my heart. I won't be alive another year if I don't accept myself. So I put a name to it. I looked in the mirror and I was just like, I am trans. I am a woman. I am not this. I am not what I'm seeing.
What do you do when you come out as LGBTQ and love the outdoors? What do you do when you see the outdoor space ruled by older white cis men and desire a diverse community of outdoor lovers? Accept it, change it, create it. I am Justin Yoder, and this is LGBT Outdoors. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the LGBT Outdoors podcast. I am one of your hosts, Justin Yoder, and I also have Patrick with me again today.
Hey, everybody.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. A lot going on.
End of the year, running a nonprofit, and all the things have to be done. But it's exciting, and we're looking forward to 2025. Got some amazing things lined up, including our adventure trips.
Yes.
We are working hard to get those solidified. So while I can't say all of them right this minute, by the time this airs, you should be able to go to our website, lgbtoutdoors.com, and click on adventure trips and see them all. I will say that you and I are leading a trip to Alaska this summer in July. So that's going to be one of them for sure.
I'm like super excited about that because the jealousy that I felt while you and the rest of the crew were up there this summer, it looked amazing. The stories that y'all were telling when you got back is just like incredible. So I'm looking forward to getting to experience that. I've never been to Alaska. But I did have some river rafting experience growing up, and getting to do that. Well, that was in Texas, so that's going to be a vastly different experience.
Vastly different.
In Alaska, with the Alaska Pack Raft School, who are amazing, and I love both of them, Jules and Justin, and I can't wait to actually meet them in person.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. So if you aren't familiar with our adventure trips, we started them this year with two, and we did Alaska and we did Big Bend National Park. Both were highly successful and amazing. So we decided that we're going to do more this year, 2025. And right now we're looking at, I believe, 5.
Yeah.
So we are just working on finalizing payments and contracts and all that kind of fun things before we announce the dates and locations for sure. But again, within the next week, we should have information on the website about that. And it's just an amazing time to be able to be with your own community, get out, see some national parks, wildlife, embrace the outdoors on these cool trips. So it's a lot of fun. And it wouldn't surprise me if they book up too. So don't, if it's something you want to do, be sure that you get your deposit in and sign up pretty quickly, because I think some of them will fill up pretty quick.
Yeah, I know some of the ones that y'all are working on outside of the Alaska trip, and they really, really sound awesome. One of them is to my personal favorite national park, and that's all I'll say. Little teaser for everybody.
Also, we are wearing LGBT Outdoors merch. So if you don't know, well, let me back up a little bit. Because some of you might not be seeing us right now, but if you're watching on YouTube right now, we are wearing our LGBT Outdoor merch. So video is new. We started that on our last one. And it's going great. People seem to be loving it. It's taken off really well. But we have all this awesome merch, t-shirts. I'm in my favorite hoodie, not just because it's LGBT Outdoors. It's just so comfortable.
Okay, no, like for real, like we can't let that like get undersold. Like I have a navy blue one, and like hands down, it is my favorite hoodie. Not to sound biased, but like it's embroidered, but like it's so comfortable.
They're
like,
so comfortable.
It's like a warm hug.
Who doesn't want a warm hug? So head over to the website, pick yourself up a hoodie, t-shirt, merch. It's fun.
ball caps and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Our store manager and Outdoor Fest coordinator, and new LGBT Outdoors board member, Josh McNabb, is heading up the store in addition to everything else.
Well, yeah.
um, so he does a great job. So check
Yeah.
it out.
Definitely. I am, as always, thrilled to have our guest that we have today. I stumbled across her on Instagram, I believe, originally, and immediately became addicted and went through all of her posts and started liking them. And she's probably like, "Who's this new stalker that I have?" But we are so excited to have Bailey Buckles from Colorado joining us today, and she is a avid outdoors person, loves adventure, loves getting out there, and also is a big advocate for the community and especially the trans community, which I think is highly important and so critical at this time.
Mhm.
So, Bailey, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks so much. And yeah, Justin, you were definitely creeping on my IG a little bit. And, for a second, I was just like, wow, like someone named Justin is really going deep on my Instagram. Then I was like, oh, I know who Justin is. So
That's
then
funny.
I was very flattered.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. No, didn't mean to come across creepy. Just like, this is great stuff. And this is somebody that we need to get on the
Yeah.
podcast. I want to get connected with. I really wish I could just like fly right out there and do a hike with you. And at some point that's going to happen. But I am just, I think you're just an awesome person and you're doing great things and you're the kind of people that we want to be connected with. So, yeah, I would love it. Like, let's kick this off with you sharing about your journey, who you are, and that can be as deep as you want to go with it. But a lot of our listeners might not know who you are, and we want to be sure that they are introduced to you and get connected to you for sure. So, tell us a little bit about who you are.
For sure, for sure. So, my name is Bailey Buckles. My pronouns are she, they. I live in Colorado Springs. It's where I grew up. It's home, just about 60 miles south of Denver. I'm very proud to be from Colorado Springs. It's a very hot take. People usually are just like, "You're from Colorado Springs and you like it?" I'm just like, "Yes, yes. It's home for sure." So I am biased, but direct access to the outdoors at the foothills of the mountains, just a totally beautiful spot to be. Y'all are welcome to come out anytime. And
Awesome.
really, like the backstory, who I am. There's always like, I feel like with all of us, there's this unique aspect of our life and journey where there's the short version and there's the long version of how we
Sure.
come
Yep.
out and tell our story. The short version is I have always known who I am from a very young age. And that's it. And the rest is history. And I'm here before you today. But the long version is definitely,
That is a short version for sure.
yeah, like no doubts from like earliest memories. I always knew who I was and who I wanted to be in the capacity of just my gender identity.
Mm,
Growing up, I definitely was very well aware that I am not one of the boys that everyone's perceiving me to be.
Mm.
From just, I remember just being in trouble wearing like my mom's clothes or my sister's clothes, just like taking out of the dryer, wearing their things, and just feeling at home and at peace. And also from that young age, just being told like, "What are you doing? That's not for you. You're not allowed to wear those clothes." And like, you're a boy, be a boy. And it's just like that doesn't make sense to me. That's
yeah.
not who I am. So always like, especially for the trans community, from a very young age, a lot of us specifically know exactly who we are. We might not just have the language to to say it. We don't really have those tools and resources. I grew up in the time with the dawn of the internet, where there wasn't there wasn't much resources available growing up. I really didn't know much about trans existence, even going into high school. Just I knew you could be straight, you could be gay, you could be bi, but I never really knew any other trans people. I didn't have community with trans women, with trans men. Um, so there was always just this big struggle. Um, I knew to suppress my feelings just because, again, at a young age, I was getting in trouble for for wearing girls' clothing, even though like historically I've always had male friends. I always knew that I wasn't one of the guys. I would try to be. I would like project myself in like
Sure.
their likeness of like, okay, well, this is what the guys are doing. Like, let me just keep projecting and trying to almost like match how they were behaving.
Right.
Yeah.
But like in high school, like there was this period, this short window where like I almost came out. Like every Halloween, like since middle school, I'd always dress as a girl, which the breadcrumbs of my life, I'm just like friends and family. How did you not know? My staple costume was just dressing up as me. Like it wasn't even
Mm,
wearing like a cat costume.
Wow.
It was just literally like I would just go to school and just dress like how normal girls at my time would dress. And
wow.
and it was like every Halloween. I remember like the first like one or two like in middle school being like a little nervous, like, oh, what are people gonna say? But it's like, oh, it's Halloween, like they're not gonna say anything. And
So
no one
I'm
really did.
curious, like I'm sorry, I'm going to jump in real quick. What did people say like when they wanted to know what your costume was? Or did they even ask what your costume was? Or
Yeah, like people would ask, like there's always like there would be like the laughter, the what are you doing? And I was just like, oh, like I would make up like different names of the year. It's like I'm Bella, like this is my costume. I'm just this Bella high
okay.
school girl. And then people were like, oh, okay. Like, like
Okay.
I definitely had like this sense of like I guess some people would say it's like me being naive, but like I just say like just this youthful innocence where like I was in this bubble of just kind of like I filtered out a lot. Like if people were being bullies or rude, one I didn't really pick up on it. Sometimes it would go over my head. It's like, oh,
Mm,
I thought they were calling me names because like they were my friends. I had no idea they were actually trying to be rude. I just thought it was kind of funny. They were laughing at me. I'm laughing back. We're having a good time.
mm,
So if there really were like kind of just not good feelings around that conversations of me like presenting myself during Halloween, I honestly didn't register it, for better and worse. But yeah, again, just when I look back at it though, I'm just like friends and family, like there have been the breadcrumbs throughout my entire journey. And like in high school though, like what prevented me from actually like kind of not wearing this costume of myself every day was that again not really having like internet was just rising. This is like the early 2000s. I really didn't know about trans identity, trans existence. I was like I could come out and be gay and present as a gay male, but I was like that just doesn't seem, that's not me either. I was in theater. I was definitely like one of the theater kids, and
Yeah, theater people. All right.
yeah, there we go. Patrick, I'm picking up on something here.
Yeah. Yep, yep.
And yeah, so like there's like a pocket, and I think there was a lot of us kind of exploring our identity at that time. And some of my friends at the time came out as gay male, and then I was just kind of like felt encouraged, and I was like, all right, in our pocket of safety, I too am a gay male. And everyone was kind of like, huh, all right, like we accept that. We just don't really see that in you either. Um, but yeah, so like I kind of was half in the closet, half out of the closet. Um, None of it being actually who I was. So I just like
Mm,
suppressed that, ignored it even happened. Like I told some of my close friends, I was like, hey guys, like I'm gay. I'm gonna start dating guys. I just want you to know. I'm not gonna tell my mom and dad. And everyone's just like, that's cool. Like we support you. And I was like, well, that's amazing.
awesome. Yeah.
That's already there. So it was nice to have that, even from friends that like weren't in this like theater bubble of exploration that we were doing. And then I started dating guys, and I was like, no, this doesn't feel right. this this isn't me. This isn't my identity. So I just like kind of moved through that and just started dating girls again, and then just went hyper masculine. All the way up and through till I was 26. I just went on this hyper masculine journey, where I was just like, I don't want to wear girls' clothes anymore. I don't want to have those thoughts. Um, this is just not, I'm not seeing this from anyone else. I don't know anyone else doing this. So I was like, I'll just be the
Mm,
best guy I can be. Started lifting weights, got into bodybuilding, went from like 100 and like 10 pounds of a scrawny person up to like 180 pounds of just like
wow.
lifting weights and living at the gym. And sort of like this this masculine world that I was going into of like men like coming up to me wanting to know like fitness tips
Mm,
and just kind of living almost like this, not like an alpha life because I definitely was not any type of alpha
mm,
person, but just like having just this notoriety of being like a just a strong guy. I was like, this feels great. Like I can bake my existence into this. But then I was also following at this point now I'm watching trans content creators on YouTube. I'm seeing a trans community form on Facebook and on Instagram. And I'm always drawn to it and I'm following them and I'm just like, that life just feels right. Their life just
mm,
feels I see myself in their stories.
Mm.
I see myself in their experiences. What am I doing to myself? And then after just years of addiction, years of depression, and just really bad, dark, negative thoughts, I turned 26, and then I just had this wake up call where it's just like, I will not, I know it in my heart, I won't be alive another year if
mm,
I don't accept myself. So I
Yeah.
put a name to it. I looked in the mirror and I was just like, I am trans. I am a woman. I am not this. I am not what I'm seeing. And I met up with a gender therapist, started talking, um, let her know just like freely through my heart. I was just like, I'm not who you're seeing. There's a part of me deep inside that needs to come out and I want to start this journey. And that's where it really just I flourished from there. Going into a conversation of just like I know I need to talk to somebody, into just being able to comfortably say, I'm Bailey.
mm.
What you're seeing right now is not me, but I want the world to see who I am,
Yeah.
like the real
Yeah.
me. And that really started my transition journey.
Wow. Yeah, I like your longer version better.
Yeah.
It's funny you're talking about internet resources. I came out in like 1996, and there really weren't like my resources to like introduce me to the queer community was literally watching like Jenny Jones and Jerry Springer, but
Yep.
because
Yeah.
like they would bring on these queer guests, um and like I fully understood like they're there for spectacle, they're there for shock value, and it was very rarely presented in a positive light. But as far as the internet goes, like this is back in the day where we had dial up, where it has that like god awful noise. um, so like late at night, I'm like in high school, and like late at night, I would bring blankets into the computer room and like smush them around the computer so that my
Your
parents
parents
wouldn't
didn't
hear the
hear it.
noise.
Mm.
Um, and I would go onto like AOL chat rooms, which it is not definitely not necessarily a healthy place to find like positive resources um, about being gay. AOL chat rooms were kind of more oriented for something else. I'll say that. Um, but yeah, what a journey. I'm grateful, if I'm being fully honest, that you got to uh, come to a realization before anything like really, really bad happened.
Yeah.
I know that there's several people who aren't as fortunate, um, but I'm glad that you're still around. I'm glad that you're using your time to be an advocate and you know use your voice and get out there. Uh,
Yeah, thank you.
so
Thank you.
thrilled to have you.
Yeah. Absolutely. When did like nature and the outdoors start coming to play with this, and did that how did that affect your journey? Um, I know for a lot of our community, the outdoors can be a very healing and place of therapy for people. Did that come and play with you? And did you like the outdoors since you were young, or did that become something that happened later in life?
Ooh, great question. And yeah, so my journey with the outdoors, I definitely wouldn't be who I am today without building and creating a life outdoors. I always just growing up in Colorado, like with access to the outdoors, I was always hiking and like taking part in outdoor things, but I really didn't like make a connection or love for it until probably a year or two into my transition. Like prior to transitioning with like friends, I remember like when they first were like, "Hey, let's go do a 14er." Like after we graduated high school, I'm just like, "A 14er? What are you even talking about?" It's like, what numbers are you throwing at me that I don't understand? They're like, "Oh, we have like 58 mountains in Colorado that are higher than 14,000 feet. Let's go hike one." I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't sound fun. Um, but then just this is before in Colorado, especially. There's a big lore and culture around going out and climbing our 14ers that we have. But probably I did my first one when I think I was like 19 or 20, and instantly fell in love with it. I was just
Mm.
like, this is great. Like, this is intense. Like, this is hiking, but a whole other, just, it's a whole other mountain, a whole other adventure. But I didn't quite really understand what I was liking about it. I was presenting as male at the time, but like there was just this draw of just like camping overnight finally for the first time. I was just like, my eyes are starting to open to it. I was like, this is great. But I was
Mm,
pretty fair weather into it up until about probably I was like 28. I always used outdoors as a means to fitness for the longest time, where it was just a way to stay in shape. I was
Sure.
like, oh, I could go do 14ers because it's a really good exercise. I'm not training for it. I'm not doing them regularly. It's like once or twice a year. I could go for a hike, and that's a great exercise. It's a great workout. It keeps like this male image that I'm using and trying to project. And then really like when I started transitioning, I definitely went through this period of time where I lost a lot of family, lost a lot of
Mm.
friends, and I found myself just for the first time, I found myself alone.
mm,
And when I found myself alone, I actually found myself alone and happy when I was outdoors. Um, like
Mm.
I lost that sense of like in person community, but I would just because I was trying to like lose muscle mass that I was building, I started mountain biking for the first time a lot more. I started really going on long hikes, and I just started having that nature therapy where I started getting in touch with parts of myself that I didn't really know were there. Um, I really started to just connect with my soul, my spirit, and discovered my authentic self in nature throughout my transition. And there was just this awakening. And ever since then, like that's really, I stopped doing drugs when transitioned. It was like my claim to like keep myself alive. I was like, I'm cleaning up my life. I'm devoted in an existence. Like I never really thought myself worthy of having an existence until I I chose to. And I found a way to recover from addiction also in nature. Because again, just there was just this beauty around me. I'm seeing deer, elk, mountain lion, bears, like not even being scared of any wild animal encounters, just like being in awe of just like, how am I sharing space with these creatures? How are they just out here living and doing their thing? And I'm just a part of it. I'm just like this observer. So it's been great. Like I definitely wouldn't be who I am without this connection to the outdoors. And a lot of the content that I create these days, I'm bringing my viewers with me. I'm bringing and sharing my story of just life outdoors and just how it's really helped and benefit me through recovery, through understanding my identity, and in turn finding and discovering community. Um, Community that I felt I lost. I was able to develop and create and find a whole new one. So it's been incredible.
I love that. And there's a common thread through a lot of people that we talk to that a a hike is never just a hike. Camping is never just sleeping in a tent. Like there's always something. You use your words like kind of spiritual about it, where it's the connection in nature or seeing the sunset, that really kind of reframes like how you look at things, and it's just so much deeper than just a walk in the woods.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that community is so important too that you find, like we hear all the time and it's very true. Like nature doesn't care about who you are, your representation or your gender or anything like that. That's true. Um there are many people that do. But to get outside and especially find your community, your tribe, your family that you can get out there and enjoy the outdoors with and really connect with nature and each other. There's something really powerful that happens with that. I think that's one thing that has made LGBT outdoors so successful is that there's this magic that happens when you get out there with your own people. And I love that. I know that you loved hiking. That's one of your big things that you enjoyed. What other outdoor activities do you really enjoy? And I know like Colorado, that can be a wide variety of things. But if you're like, I guess, what are your go tos along with hiking?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely go tos. Other than hiking, really love trail running for sure. Trail running, hiking. I use those pretty interchangeably. And on top of that, I'm a winter sport fanatic. I grew up doing a
Oh,
lot of snowboarding. I stopped snowboarding because just I broke too many bones just from going just a little
wow.
too many full sends.
You're just going all in.
Yeah, like I was just like, I better take a step back. And then I actually developed from there. I was like, well, if I'm not gonna just have all this fun on a snowboard, I picked up some snowshoes and just got fully in love with snowshoeing. So I make the most out of summer, but I just love snowshoeing in the wintertime. It blends just my biggest passion, which is like hiking and trail running, and I get to do the same thing just in the wintertime. And there's just something just so just epic and extreme and just beautiful about just hiking mountains in the snow. And even if you're not like climbing a mountain in the snow with snowshoes, just going out and just being through that and this like fresh powder.
Hmm.
I just love it. And then my wife and I, we recently got into like paddleboarding and kayaking, which has been
Ooh.
super good. Like she's all about the water. She's all about like she needs that in her life. And I didn't even paddleboard for the first time until like 2 years ago, and I was just like, I don't know about this. I like my feet on the ground. Like
It's so
I
wobbly at first. I remember the first time I did, I was like, my knees are like shaking so bad.
yeah, same. And like we actually have this epic picture. So because I make a lot of content outdoors. Like I love photography. I love just recording experiences just through that aspect. But naturally, we're out paddleboarding for the first time, and I've got my GoPro. I mounted on the paddleboard, and it was an experience. I definitely fell plenty of times, but then I finally get the hang of it, and like my wife starts paddling over and she wants to like take a cute picture of us on the lake together. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And then she decides to like step onto my board,
Uh-oh.
and I wasn't ready for it. And then I just like flip over. So I have just this amazing, beautiful screenshot of our first outing of me just like going headfirst in the water. She's trying to step onto my board. And it's just probably the best outtake I've ever had.
Love it. Oh,
Love that.
funny.
I did snowshoeing. I've only ever done it once, actually. I think it was about a year ago. We went to Colorado to film for part of our promo video that we did, and we did snowshoeing up to this lake. And I had no idea really what to expect with snowshoeing, but it was amazing. And I I knew this from my time in Missouri with how much snow we get up there and in the woods, how just quiet it becomes. But like you get up in Colorado into the mountains and all the trees are covered in snow and it's just so silent and just
Mm.
beautiful and you just hear the wind blowing and it's I don't know. Yeah, it's magical and I can understand how people could get addicted to snowshoeing for sure.
Definitely, definitely. That silence is just amazing. As you captured it. You should definitely come out and snowshoe sometime. Let's do it. I've got an
Let's
extra
do it.
pair.
Awesome. I'm down.
Cool.
I would love that. Yeah. It's funny because I almost feel like I'm gaining more friends in Colorado than I am here in Texas.
Screw Texas.
Uh, um, well, to go along with this, so kind of developing of who you are, your love for the outdoors, what you like doing. Have you run into any challenges or barriers being a transgender person or a person of color, like in the outdoors? Because a lot of our community, so there's a stereotype that the LGBTQ community doesn't like the outdoors, right? Well, obviously we do. But there are a lot of people that definitely don't at the same time and do have fears about the outdoors. um we don't hide anything, and a lot of times people go through very challenging things. We hear stories all the time about people that have been discriminated against
Mhm.
either on a trail or in an outdoor setting or in an outdoor store. And so it does happen. So we're not trying to hide that, but we also want to make people aware of some of the challenges we go through our community. And I'm just curious if you've faced any challenges along those lines.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's always yeah, it's hard. It's hard because I definitely have faced challenges and barriers in the outdoors. The outdoor industry, just being in Colorado in the outdoors, is predominantly you stumble across cis het white men,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and when you're brown or you're BIPOC and you're navigating these spaces, that alone you're already kind of standing out. And then when you're
Hmm.
trans or you identify as LGBTQ, that's a whole other barrier that's on there. And I have definitely experienced a fair share of harassment on the trail. Um,
Mm.
I've had experiences of actually being sexually assaulted on the trail. Um,
Wow. Jeez.
and it makes going out, it can pose some challenges for sure, and a lot of fear. A lot of fear can happen from not wanting to be in that experience again. But
Yeah.
even just for a visibility standpoint, I would say overall, my experiences in the outdoors have always been safe and enjoyable. It's
Mm.
just that slim margin of where harm does happen, and that's the reality of it, though. I've been I think just something that I see, especially maybe not even my transness coming out, but just being a brown woman in the outdoors, I'll get so much constant feedback from like cis white men, especially of just mansplaining on the trail or just like making comments. I feel like a lot of like the BIPOC community will experience this policing of our bodies, of just having comments of just our general appearance. I'll hear from men of just like, you don't need all that stuff on your face, like makeup.
Mm.
You don't need that for where you're going, and it's just like not wearing it for you, buddy. Like, not,
Right.
so it's not for you. Or it'll just be you get the mansplaining of just minding your own business, and it's like, oh, are you sure you're comfortable out here? Are you like they'll kind of like coddle you in the sense of like talking down on you as if you're not in the space of just like just keep going. If you need to turn around, like now's the good time to turn around. It's just like, no, like
Mm.
summited this mountain plenty of times.
Right.
I'm sure
Right.
I
You
can make it
probably
up
could be
just fine.
teaching them some stuff. That's probably the reality of it.
Yeah.
Like,
So,
I hate so much that you have faced that and that you go through that. I can't even imagine, and I could see why that does turn a lot of people away. But I am so thankful for people like you that um, press on and be like, you know what, I'm not going to let this control me. I'm not going to let them control me, and I'm still going to get out there. And if people aren't don't feel comfortable going by themselves, find a friend to go with. Maybe we have a chapter where you're at, and you could get involved with that and go. But I guess my biggest thing for people that are hearing this that I want them to know is like, yeah, danger and danger is always around us, no matter where we're
Yeah.
at, right? It doesn't matter if we're driving on a car down the highway or if we're out on a trail. Um, but I think the reward is well worth the risk, and we put ourselves at risk every day. So it's kind of, what kind of risk do you want to put yourself in? And again, if you don't feel comfortable going by yourself, go with somebody. Make some outdoor friends that you like to go hiking with or go paddleboarding with, and still get out there, because the therapy that you can get from Mother Nature is just such a powerful thing.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't have said it better myself. Um, should always try to get outside, but there's definitely the ways to do it safe and to be safe. And I would say 99% of the time, if you're new to going to the outdoors, you're gonna have a great experience.
Yeah.
And there's definitely community there. There's friends that you can go with. There's all sorts of groups. Um, but like especially again for the BIPOC community, especially like the Black and Brown community, just there's a lot of barriers to access. And it's I would love to see those start getting like addressed and lifted, and I think it's getting better in time, especially just like with what LGBT Outdoors is doing with the groups and the meetups and the chapters. Like that just helps out so much because it's removing that barrier. The one just being, I don't know how to get out here by myself, um,
Mhm.
and just having that connection just goes a long way for sure.
Well, and it's a connection, but it's a direct invitation. I feel like um, I'll speak for myself. You go to like a house of worship or wherever, and they're like, "Oh, well, we love everybody." It's like, okay, but until you're calling out we love everybody. We love the L, the G, the B, the T, the plus. Like you're legit welcome. And it, it's just an invite. And if it's not taken as an invite, it's at least education that we do these things. We don't always go to the bars and the clubs. We have lives outside of that. Um, and that's where what we find outside, not the bars and the clubs. That's where we find our healing and our recovery and like you know all the things that we love about the outdoors.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you mentioned the invite. Um, I wish I had the exact number now with me, but we do the LGBT Outdoor Visibility
Mhm.
Survey, and one of the questions on there is like, how likely would you be to go hiking with somebody or get involved in an outdoor activity if somebody was to invite you? And I think it was like 42% of LGBTQ people said that if somebody was to invite me to go do an outdoor activity, I would go with them.
Hmm.
Um, so
That's a really
if you
encouraging
are
statistic.
listening to this and you do like the outdoors, like, invite somebody to go with you. You never know. Um, can you share any celebrations that you've had, any wins that you've had? I feel like there's a lot with you. Um, you are, to me, a very light in the outdoor community,
Mhm.
and I just feel like I can't speak specifically of any, but I just feel like there's got to be some really cool experiences and wins that you've had along this journey as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. Definitely a lot of wins and celebrations. I think probably like the biggest wins and celebrations that I could think of is honestly like I've been having so much fun in the outdoors lately, just really advocating for trans rights in the outdoors. As I mentioned earlier, like I love to just climb 14ers. I've been really getting into 13ers in Colorado, which is just 13,000 feet mountains that are less traveled than the 14ers.
Mm.
There's a big following around doing Colorado 14ers, and then there's like hundreds of 13ers that really embody just the spirit of the outdoors. They're more like your bushwhacking trails. You'll see a lot less people on those trails typically. Um, where like on a 14er, you're gonna stumble across herds of folks doing the same thing. And on some of these 13ers out here, you might not see anybody, or you might just see like one or two people for your entire excursion. So I've been doing these 13ers, but I've just been taking my trans flag with me, and I've just been waving that from the summits, posting content with it, just
Yeah.
encouraging the trans community, just reminding them of what trans joy means to me, and just encouraging them to share what trans joy means for them. And the responses that I hear back from it have just like lifted my soul in a way I didn't think possible.
Yeah.
Where even if they're not interested in being in the outdoors and they're commenting or they're sharing what brings them joy in their life, it's huge. It's a shift that I'm trying to make even go even bigger. I would love to just keep hearing more about just trans joy because it really can't be diminished. And I
Mhm.
love bringing it to the outdoors, and I want to bring more, especially more of the trans community with me to the outdoor community and just to these outdoor adventures because I just know how it feels. I just know how life saving it can be, spiritually, emotionally, as a being, and how you can tap into that authentic, authentic. Ah, I like can't talk. Your authentic self.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I was going to try to jump in there and help you, and then I was like getting tongue tied myself, and I was like, I'm not going to be able to
Yeah.
say it either. Oh,
No,
Authentic
it's hard.
self.
be
Yeah.
being your authentic self. Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
Um, like I love the fact that you're focused on the joy. And I want to focus on the joy. I want to kind of take a little detour from that for a second, though. And don't think I was originally planning on mentioning this and talking about it, but I think that it is could be really important. Because I love how vocal you are and about your advocacy and how passionate you are, and you're not hiding. You are out there. You are being like, I am Bailey. This is me. I am being my true self. Um, but there's more and more recently, and I've known this always known it for quite a while, but the discrimination that you trans people can get even from the LGBTQ community itself, I can't even begin to wrap my head around. Um, and I would like to talk about that with you and see if you've experienced that and if you have thoughts on as to why and what we can do to help change that. Specifically, you're not going to go into all the details of it, but recently ran into friend a friend of mine, and I don't know what triggered it or what, but we ran into each other out one night, and all of a sudden he was on this rant about trans people, and I had no idea that that was his thoughts, and I am done. Like, that is not the kind of people that I want in my life. But the things that he was saying, he's a gay guy, um, just saying that he doesn't think that trans people should have the same rights as us, um, that trans people shouldn't have the choice of using the restrooms that they want to use, um, that the T shouldn't be a part of the LGBT, like all this stuff that I'm just like it was so shocking and so hurtful, and I can't imagine like being that narrow-minded, because for me, like, my parents don't accept me for being gay, and so even if I didn't understand something, I would want to try to understand it and get to know somebody so that I'm not like my parents.
Hmm.
Have you faced any of that from the own community?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that you just had to be involved in that conversation too. But I've definitely have encountered that within the LGBT community for sure. I have felt excluded from uh, LGBT safe spaces
Mm,
just by being trans. Uh, like I remember even coming out, just even going to like just kind of like gay bars around Colorado Springs. We had Club Q, and just feeling
Hmm.
at that time almost challenged in a way. It was a different community sense back then, but it was just different sometimes for sure. I think the trans community gets picked on and bullied as a scapegoat for of other issues that are out there, especially when we think about violence towards women and girls, predominantly being done by cis men. And the scapegoat to that is the trans community, specifically trans women.
Yeah.
And from there, it just kind of spews out. And I don't know what it is just about our identity and us existing that makes this threat that we're not invited to have a seat at the table. I think a lot of the table wouldn't be there if it wasn't for trans activists.
Yeah.
When we go as far back to Stonewall, so it's kind of wild. Trans women, especially Black trans women, have been leading the movement for
Hmm.
LGBTQ rights for so long, but historically we've been left behind.
Mm.
We've all just been left behind for whatever reason that is, and to this day, it's a struggle. I don't encounter it personally as much anymore, but definitely I see it. I see it daily. I hear about it daily, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking to know that your community that fights so hard to help everyone else
Yeah.
gets left behind. Um, and there's even the instances of just not advocating for trans rights in situations where we need advocacy, we need help, we need support. Um, there's a lot of those that are within the LGBTQ community that kind of also sit it out. Um,
Mm.
like we, like me as myself, like I can't advocate for the LGBT community without advocating for trans rights, but I feel like there's other folks out there that can advocate for the LGB community and intentionally behind trans and gender nonconforming identities and
Right.
people. And it just doesn't make sense to me. And
Yeah.
I think collectively we all could just, to your point, Justin, it'd be great if you have feelings of doubt or just not even doubt, you just don't know. If you don't understand a trans person or if you don't understand why someone or how someone could be non-binary or gender fluid, that's a great time to have a cup of coffee, have some tea,
Yes.
Yeah.
and just get to know someone virtually in
Yeah.
person. Like in today's world, you can't hop on your phone and not be exposed to the answers to questions that you have, especially when it comes out to just wanting to hear about someone's story. Like you could hop onto Instagram, you could go to TikTok and look up trans or non-binary creators and just
Hmm.
hear them talk their truths,
Hmm.
listen to what they're saying, and you'll find your answers. There's been an unwillingness to take those steps. And I would just encourage anyone that has a shadow of a doubt, if they're feeling that hesitation of, I don't know how I can lend my voice into the trans community, or I don't feel like I want to support them, follow a trans content creator, and that might change your mind because you'll see the humanity of us all.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, the like finest point you could possibly make. Is for anybody, is just finding the humanity. Like it's hard to dislike or hate or whatever somebody if you're looking them in the eyes and like genuinely considering them that they are a human being and that they've had parents and they grew up somewhere and that they have a backstory, and that they have feelings and like they probably cry and um, human. And you would think that one of the easiest things we could do as humans is just to see the humanity in each other, and that seems to be so ridiculously elusive.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah. I will say this as the founder, as the executive director of LGBT Outdoors, we are always, always, always going to make sure that trans people feel welcome within our organization. Um, and I say that for the bi community too. It's different, but I know that I have personally heard people talk about negatively about bi instructors we've had at LGBT Outdoor Fest. Um, when it comes to the LGBTQ plus community, you're all welcome at LGBT Outdoors, and you are wanted here. We don't even separate our events. We don't even do like gay events or lesbian events or trans events. Um, there's organizations that do that, and we have nothing against that. But for us, for LGBT Outdoors, we're looking at this as we're a family, and it doesn't matter where you fall in the LGBTQ plus categories. It doesn't matter where you fall with your race. It doesn't matter where you fall with your age. We are one big family, and everyone is welcome here and wanted here. So I am so sorry for everything that you've gone through, Bailey. But I am thankful that you are a fighter and being a voice out there and breaking down these stereotypes and making a difference. And there might be days when you think maybe that you aren't doing much. But I believe that your Instagram alone is a powerful tool, and so keep it up. It's awesome what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Definitely. And we'll make sure that there's a link in our show notes. Real quick, we're going to take a quick little break to show some love for our sponsors. And we will be back here in just a minute.
If you're looking for high quality tents, sleeping bags, or backpacks at a price you can afford, well, look no further. We're proud to partner with Sierra Designs, a leading provider of innovative outdoor gear. Outside of offering high quality premier outdoor apparel and gear, Sierra Design supports game changing organizations like LGBT Outdoors. To learn more, visit their website, sierradesigns.com, and enter code LGBT Outdoors to receive 25% off your entire purchase. This episode of the LGBT Outdoors podcast is brought to you by the Monterey Bay Aquarium, where you can experience the wonder beneath the waves and celebrate your connection to the ocean. Join Monterey Bay Aquarium in advocating for a healthy ocean. Together, we can tackle climate change and stop plastic pollutions at the source. Sign up for the Ocean Action email to learn how you can protect the oceans that connect us all at montereybayaquarium.org/act.
And welcome back to the LGBT Outdoors podcast. We're back with our second half of our fantastic chat with Bailey. So Bailey, kind of looking at some big picture encouragement. Like, what advice would you give queer individuals, especially transgender and people of color, who might feel hesitant to explore outside spaces?
Ooh, yeah, that's a great question. Really, the biggest piece of advice that I can really offer is to just take that step out. Don't be too, don't talk yourself out of exploring the outdoors, and don't fall for the trap of what you see on social media. You can go start small, and then as you get comfortable, go bigger. Like here in Colorado, I could go out to Garden of the Gods in Colorado Springs. On Instagram, it could look like I'm in a whole other world that's super far away, and it's like this could be this place where it's like, oh my gosh, like I could never get out there, but it's really just a 10-minute drive in Colorado Springs to get there, and you're on the Front Range, and it's a safe place to be. It's beautiful, and what I'm trying to say is that there's places in your community that I'm sure that if you took the right angle or picture, you might look like you're somewhere transported in a land far away. But that's the outdoors. That is it. If you're only used to walking around the neighborhood, see if there's a local park nearby that people go out and it's rated good for bringing dogs out there, or it's rated as like a kid-friendly park, or just trails are rated beginner. Check it out. Like start close to your house, and I am sure you'll have a good time. And definitely use whatever resources you can to like build your toolbox. There's plenty of content creators out there. If you don't want to go to a store like REI or any like outfitters store, um, you can definitely learn a lot just by following some content creators out there on the gear that you need, equipment that you might want to use to feel safe and protected. But I can assure you it's going to be a great time.
Yeah, and sorry, sending some love to REI, and like not to negate anything, but like I went into an REI looking for Patrick's first pair of hiking boots. It was a momentous occasion. No clue what I was looking for at all, and the staff there was like it wasn't even like an upsell thing. Like they made sure that I had what I needed, and they were super helpful, but without being like judgy at all. So super cool. Um, when it comes to allies, and I count myself, and I would hope that most of the queer community would call themselves allies for the queer community. Um, but what can we do to create safer and more inclusive environments in the outdoors, do you think?
Ooh, I think as allies, again, just speaking from the lens of almost just like content creation and like social media, I think for allies is just kind of just speaking truthfully about the situations and your experiences outdoors. Again, there's like a lot of smoke and mirrors that happen online.
Mhm.
And I think just sometimes, as even for us within the LGBTQ community, not showing so much maybe smoke and mirrors of our experiences outdoors, but also just being vulnerable about it. Um, Everyone breathes hard when they're hiking on the trail. There's a lot
Mhm.
of that. Everyone's
Es-
kind of huffing and puffing,
Especially in
and
Colorado,
Yeah.
yeah,
if you're not local.
yep. So yeah, like we are all having a hard time. Like we we're all having a hard time doing something that's really fun. And as allies, I think it's just important for us all to just make whatever invitation that you can to those around you. Um, if you like to be a solo hiker, solo adventurer like myself, post something of just in solidarity throughout your adventures. Like
Mm.
just send out this invitation that this space is for all, even into whatever capacity that looks like for you. Um, that would just be my advice, probably.
I love that. I'm curious, do you have anybody or anything that inspires you as well for you to get outside, like, that really pushes you or encourages you to get out there on those adventures?
You know, probably what honestly does inspire me to get out there is, again, just being a content creator out there in the world. I am just inspired by a vision for the future that I have, that I just see this more inclusive, safer future for all, where trans and LGBTQ youth are protected and they're validated and they're safe. We as LGBTQ adults and elders were out there just being resources and tools for those. And yeah, like I'm just inspired by the community itself, and just my vision of what I think the future can look like, in just a more loving, safe way.
That's awesome. Love that. Are there any groups that you're a part of currently that you might wanna shout out or recommend, that would be great resource for other people to get plugged in?
So currently, I'm not part of. I don't. Not home to any groups at the moment. I
Okay.
definitely tend to be a solo adventurer too. But definitely, if you're listening to this, check out LGBT Outdoors in Colorado. We have Black Packers, which is an awesome group, Colorado Black Packers. We have Outdoor Latino in Colorado, Outdoor Asian also here in Colorado, and I believe all of those have some chapters throughout the country as well.
Yeah, love it.
Definitely recommend checking them out because they're doing some amazing, just inclusive hikes as well as community engagement work. Again, I really actually can't advocate enough for Colorado Black Packers. I just love what they're doing. I've helped out with some of just their volunteer hours that they do around Colorado Springs, which has been super cool. So I definitely would say check them out.
Awesome.
Very cool. I love that. I think maybe we should do some rapid fire questions with
Rapid
her.
fire. Pew, pew, pew.
Oh, rapid fire! I knew this was coming.
All right. So, what is your go-to snack on a trail?
Cold fried chicken.
Whoa, for real?
For
Whoa.
real, for real.
I did
Like
not
it's
see that
probably
coming.
it's the trail runner in me where it's just like I just want some real food, and yeah. So I pack cold fried chicken, and nothing tastes better than having that when you're exhausted.
I am My jaw's on the floor, and I'm also starting to drool a little bit because that sounds really good.
And it has to be cold. Like you have to have like a good like cold like
Okay.
battered crunchy chicken. My wife makes fun of me relentlessly, and I'm just happy eating my chicken outside.
I could totally get behind that though. I mean, I love cold leftover turkey, like from
Yeah,
Thanksgiving. So
Exactly.
absolutely.
I can see that. What is one piece of outdoor gear you can't live without?
Um, my headlamp.
Nice.
All right.
Important.
Sunrise or sunset paddle?
Sunrise all the way.
Winter or summer? I think we already answered that.
Winter.
Yeah.
That's that one coming. If you could be any animal for a day, what animal would you be?
Oh, that one's hard. I want to be all the animals. I would be, I would be a falcon for sure.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Like
Love it.
falcon, I just want to like feel the flight, but I also want to feel that speed. Like they can dive at like 60, no, like even faster. I don't know right now at the moment because I'm too excited about being a
Super
falcon.
fast.
But they're super fast. They're like super fast, and I want to know what that feels like.
uh, that's awesome. Love it.
Cool.
What's in the future for you as far as your outdoor adventures and journey goes?
Yeah, so future for me, I'm actually pretty excited. I'm gonna start a YouTube channel here pretty soon. I'm gonna shift some of the stuff that I'm doing into building LGBTQ safe spaces for personal defense, personal self defense, safety, ways to be safe on the trail, ways to be safe in life. I grew up in martial arts. At one point, I was a martial arts instructor, so I'm
Oh,
just
Wow.
looking to find a way to blend both of these two passions and just offer different drills, practices, things we can do just with our own two hands to be empowered if we're ever in that situation where we have to defend ourselves. We can all feel comfortable doing that.
That's awesome.
love that.
Yeah.
How
That's very
cool.
cool. We're gonna have to stay in touch about that because that might be another whole podcast episode when you get that going. So
For
that'd be
sure,
really
for
cool.
sure.
How can our listeners follow your adventures and support your journey?
Oh yeah, so you can follow me. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky now, which Blue Sky's been pretty awesome. Just Bailey underscore Buckles. So just my name. I'm like the only Bailey Buckles out there. I'm gonna shamelessly plug in the wife, the love of my life. I
Yeah.
married her and I stole her last name because Bailey Buckles was too good to pass.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
like once we started dating, I was just like Amanda Buckles. Like I need that name. I need your last name.
Oh, that's awesome.
uh,
Love it.
hopefully you didn't marry her just for her last name, but that's an added bonus.
It was an added bonus. It definitely was more for just the name. If she's listening to this, I love you so much. I
Aw.
swear. But thanks for an
Aw.
awesome last name
Uh,
too.
How long have y'all been married?
We've been married since 2021. We actually
Nice.
got married throughout the pandemic. We snuck away to Zion National Park when they were open, and we eloped in Zion. Kind of just we're off
Oh,
the beaten
wow.
path. Our best friends joined us, and we just did this little elopement outdoors. It was super pretty.
And I saw your photos from when I was, stalking you, of course. Super cute. Like,
Aw.
yeah, I just absolutely loved those photos of you guys. You look so cute. That's awesome. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with any of our listeners before we wrap up?
I would say one thing to share is just I hope if you're new to get into the outdoors, I hope you're able to experience it because there is just a vast world of beauty and connection that you can have in creating a life outdoors. And it can be as simple as just a little walk through the park or as complex as climbing mountains. It's your journey to decide and it's your journey to live. And I hope that you have a wonderful life outside.
Yes,
Mm,
absolutely. Bailey, you have been a joy and a pleasure to have on our
yeah.
podcast. So I want to thank you for taking the time out of your Saturday morning and being here with us. Absolutely love everything you stand for, what you had to share, and I can't wait to get on a trail with you sometime.
And,
Same,
and
same.
keep it up. Please keep it up. You're doing some important stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
I will.
Well,
Thanks, y'all.
For all of our listeners, thank you again for tuning in today. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us. If you're wherever you're listening, like and subscribe. Leave a review. That really helps us, and it gets us out to more people to be able to find our podcast and learn about LGBT outdoors. Also, we have the Trailblazer Society. If you like the mission that we stand for and you believe in creating diversity and inclusion in the outdoors and breaking down those stereotypes, then head over to lgbtoutdoors.com, click on Trailblazer Society. For as little as $15 a month, you can really help us make a difference in the outdoor world.
Yep.
And you'd get a free t-shirt out of it as well. So
Yeah.
it's a win-win. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, get out there.